We bought this house in 1997, a few years after we'd moved to Marblehead. At the time we moved, it was just after Hurricane Bob and the no-name storm. And so when we were looking for a house on the water, we were very conscious of the danger from nor'easters. So we wanted to make sure we were well protected from the northeast. And this house has hundreds of yards of rock facing northeast. So we're very, very safe from that point of view. We also wanted to be high enough so that we weren't going to be affected by flooding, and because this house rises up from the ocean and then there's a full basement, walkout basement before you get to the house, we're high enough that flooding is not an issue for us. We wanted to be south facing. We looked at a number of houses in Beeches Point, the Neck, which are facing northwest and north and east, and we found the sun was off their yards early in the afternoon sometimes. Here we get sun from sunrise to sunset, and it's quite glorious. We wanted also to have views. We didn't just want to see water. Here we see rocks, we have Ram Island directly opposite, but we also see all the way down Preston Beach, down to Nahant, to Logan, and all the way down to the South Shore on the islands. We love to watch the lights at night. We see lighthouses. On July the 4th we see the fireworks from towns all the way down the coast. On our rocks, which are right in front of us, we see seagulls, we see loons, we see families of ducks, and just recently a seal was spotted. The thing that we learnt and understood better after we moved here was how well run Marblehead is as a town fiscally. Our tax rate is currently $10.52. Next door on Swampscott it's $17.99. So that's 71% higher, and that makes a big difference to the taxes here. We have lots of favourite spaces. The garden room, morning coffee, listen to the birds, read the paper. We used to have parties for our daughter in there. It's great in the summer. It's just a wonderful sunny room to spend, particularly in the winter months. In the dining room, we designed the deck so that you cannot see anything in the deck from the dining room. And that's a formal dining room and sits there with a great view out onto the water. When we designed the breakfast room and the kitchen, and we redid that whole area, we added a window at the end of the breakfast room, so wherever you sit you can see the ocean. Very similar in a way to what we did in the master bathroom, where there was a small area jutting out from the house, and we got a structural engineer so that we could strengthen that, and we put the tub in it. And then, so you sit in the tub and you see the ocean. And when the tub was being fitted, my wife and I sat there in the tub to make sure it was the right height so that you could sit in the tub and see the ocean. Similarly, we put another window in so when you're in the shower, you look out and see the ocean. library is the room that we probably spend most time in the winter. It's got a fireplace, it's just a very cozy room, it's got lots of books, and we just love being in it. We wanted to live in a neighborhood. Here we are part of a neighborhood. We're not, we have no passing traffic on Crown Way, so we're quiet, but we're not remote, and that was important. The local neighborhood organization does various things. July the 4th, we have a lobster bake on the beach. There's a winter cocktail party, a summer progressive dinner. But we also have an email group so that if we need advice on something, we can ask a question and normally get some replies. So the neighborhood, the location are the factors behind our decision to buy this house. And since we bought it, we have completely restored it. From starting with the foundation, we've replaced just about everything. We wanted to restore, so my wife did as much research as possible on the historic house. It was built in 1850. There were 2 houses here which were built by cousins from Boston. They did research, and we tried to be true to the origins of the house wherever we could. We've gone back and we've put in windows, roof, HVAC, basically everything, and wherever possible we've worked with the materials that we had, like the staircase, which my wife spent 3 weeks restoring down to the original mahogany. So that's been our guiding philosophy. It's a great location here. We're 10 minutes closer to going to Boston or Vinnon Square than if you're out at Peaches Point. And that's obviously a benefit both on a daily basis. It's so well insulated that in winter, in fact, actually last summer, in summer of 2011, when the tornadoes were coming through eastern Massachusetts, we saw sitting in the library, flash across the TV screen, tornado warning in Marblehead, and we hadn't heard anything. And we had to go down to the garden room and look out at the sky with all the drama. And it reminded me of a comment from the chap from this old house who said his house was so well insulated that he opens the window every now and again so that he can hear the weather. What is remarkable is the wind is kept out, but we hear the sound of the waves on the rocks and on the shingles as it drains down. That sound is right here, and it's remarkable how we hear that, and we just love listening to the sound of the water. We love when we get storms and the spray, the storms come down, they hit the seawall and go past into the field and over the seawall that way. The spray comes up, we hear that and feel very safe. It's a very, very solidly built house, and that's why the first thing we did was make sure everything was solid in the foundation and the basic fundamentals of the house. The 3rd floor, which was unheated when we bought it, we finished that off, and that now has 3 rooms and a bathroom and a Caesar closet. What I use as an office used to be the cedar closet. We moved it to the other side of the house and created that room and put in skylights, and so there are 3 rooms up there, and I think they have some great views all the way down the coast. One of the reasons that we bought the house was the carriage house, and we just thought this was an extraordinary property directly on the water. We restored that completely as we have the main house, and we had Marvin build a window, hurricane strength, at the end of the great room. It's 10 feet 6 inches wide and 6 feet 6 inches high, and that looks directly out onto Ram Island. That great room has big, wide, old beams. And the carriage house originally was where the grooms lived, with the horses down below and the grooms above. And then later on, when the family here had a chauffeur, the cars were downstairs and the chauffeur lived upstairs. And as time moved on and there were no servants, so it became a legal rental apartment. the pool which we redid in the summer of 2011, when we put lights in. The pool is painted to be a Caribbean blue, and at night with the lights on it's a turquoise. Makes our neighbours think that they're living next to a resort.